The social cognitive theory describes the way I learn best. The social cognitive theory PowerPoint from week 8 defines it as a result of the interaction between behaviors, environment, and cognitive factors. People learn by observing and thinking about actions of others and observing the consequences of those actions. We saw this when we analyzed the clip from Big Daddy, when Sony becomes the model for Julian. Julian learns new behaviors by observing, copying, and thinking about those actions. At first, Sony is a bad influence on Julian's behavior, but when Sony has a change of heart, Julian's actions positively change too. A good role model is someone who is enthusiastic, competent, has actions that lead to successful outcomes, and has similarities with the observer. The use of the social cognitive theory and having great role models has helped me successfully learn how to compete in Taekwondo and illustrate a book. Ever since my first Taekwondo tournament, I've wanted to win Grand Champion. To compete at the Grand Champion level means winning first place in your black belt division and then competing against all other first place winners. Only once did I make it to the Grand Champion round. When it was time for the semi-annual tournament, I set a goal to not only win first place so I could compete at the Grand Champion level again, but win the title. I had asked my role model for help because observational learning is learning that involves acquiring skills, strategies, and beliefs by observing others, according to the social cognitive theory PowerPoint. And it needs 4 steps to be successful: attention, retention, motivation, and production. I have been in this sport since I was 3 years old, so I've had many instructors, but I've always looked up to my older brother Drake since we started 17 years ago. Drake is now a 3rd degree black belt, has broken bricks, won many tournaments, and has been an instructor for 10 years at 7 different locations. The older we get, the more I look up to him as I see that he demonstrates strong values of patience, kindness, and perseverance, which have all been positive influences on me. He shows me warmth by being generous with his time and showing me encouragement. In person, I was able to watch Drake demonstrate the forms and kicks I would need to know. I would tape him so when he was busy, I could spend time watching the videos on repeat. I made mental notes while he was teaching classes because he was able to capture his students' attention, come up with fun games, and took his time while teaching lessons. I remember him saying that doing Taekwondo is 10% mental and 90% physical. I was motivated to work hard and win because I had had this goal for so long. I also didn't want to let my students down because they were cheering me on and I was their instructor. I wanted to be worthy of their admiration because they wanted to be just like me, as I wanted to be just like Drake. I worked out, attended extra classes, and practiced my forms and board breaking as much as I could. Drake would also work with me after classes and critique my technique. I had to learn self-efficacy, which is a person's sense of being able to deal effectively with a particular task, and beliefs about personal competence in a particular situation. I kept telling myself that if Drake could do it, so could I. I knew being fully prepared would ease my stress and make me proud of where I placed no matter what. At the tournament, I was able to reproduce the skills I had been learning, winning first place in breaking and forms. When I continued to the Grand Champion round for forms, I could feel how close I was to reaching my goal, and I could see Drake cheering me on. The tournament and my goal were a complete success as I won Grand Champion for forms. Even better, Drake won Grand Champion for board breaking. Another example of me learning best from the social cognitive theory is in art. Mr. Moran supported me as an artist from my first day that I walked into his classroom. During my senior year, he challenged me to test my skills with the biggest project I ever completed, illustrating a children's book. With his connections in an interview, I was hired to illustrate a book called Grandma's Wings. Mr. Moran already had my attention being my favorite teacher, but he also gave me one-on-one help, taught me how to use Lightroom and Photoshop, gave me resources and tips on how to improve my work. This goal involved self-regulated learning, as I had to manage my emotions, progress, and obstacles. It was important for me to manage my time, stress, energy, and not to compare myself to others. I made a calendar with deadlines and mini goals to manage my progress. Mr. Moran also helped me with the business side so I could effectively communicate with the publisher, editor, and author. There were many obstacles such as messing up, not knowing the illustrating programs, and making art deadlines. Mr. Moran helped me through this new world of art. When the book was published, Mr. Moran was the first one I gave a copy to. Both of these examples, winning Grand Champion and illustrating a book, demonstrate how I am motivated. After filling out the one size does not fit all, the 8 focuses of motivation, I know I am motivated by recognition and inquisitiveness. I was driven to win Grand Champion and be published because I wanted it to be recognized for my hard work, accomplishments, and efforts. I didn't know anything about illustrating, but I was excited to gain new knowledge and information and push myself to do something new. I was both intrinsically motivated because I love Taekwondo and art, and extrinsically motivated because winning a big trophy and being published is an amazing accomplishment. Both were mastery goals as I was highly engaged, welcomed the new challenges, persevered to strive, and my effort determined the outcome. The social cognitive theory and having role models is a beneficial way for me to learn. I learn best by observing, having demonstration, visual examples, and then doing the task myself. I love things that are active and hands-on. I am using my new knowledge of how I learn best and applying it to my future and current goals. Mr. Moran is even more of a role model now to me 3 years later. He used to tell me every day that I would become an art teacher like him. I would just laugh at him then, but during my first week at UW Whitewater, I finally realized he was right. Now I am motivated to work hard so I can get my dream job.